Malcolm got me a little French bulldog, and my dog was the most... If you held a ball, you could hold the ball, and the dog would stare at the ball all day long. And that's the kind of focus that Stanley Kubrick had, like a French bulldog and a ball.
That's so true. That's so true. Stanley gave me this puppy dog. It was a golden retriever. It was the most charming thing he did. You know, yeah. The house dog had a litter, and he said, you know, you get to pick. You know, he said, really, Stanley, it's very sweet. So I picked one, and the next day he said, what do you call the dog? I said, I called it Alex. He went, Alex? Why Alex? I went, what do you mean, why Alex? I'm playing Alex. He goes, why didn't you call it Stanley? I said, because Stanley, I'd be going around the set going, Stanley, get over here!
A friend of mine told me about Stanley Kubrick's photography background. He gave me an old Rolleiflex camera, and he said, you should learn how to use it, show up on the set with it, and it'll break the ice. It'll be a way to become friends with Stanley Kubrick. So I started teaching myself to use this beautiful old twin-lens reflex camera, medium format camera, beautiful. And I showed up on the set with it around my neck, and I was kind of wanting Stanley to say something about my camera. And finally, he got really annoyed. He said, what are you doing? What are you doing with that old piece of shit camera? And I said, it's not a piece of shit, beautiful camera. He goes, no, listen, if you want to take pictures on my set, this is what you do. You go out and you buy this. And he, of course, knew all about the best technology that was available. Yeah. He told me every single lens to buy. It was a Minolta camera, all the way down to the camera bag. Sure. And I hated it. But I loved this Rolleiflex.
Well, that's probably why you're an actor and he was one of the great directors.
That's right. That's right. But he extraordinarily allowed me to take pictures with my Rolleiflex on the set. I kept it in my flak jacket.
And they came in useful when you were doing your diary.
That's it, yeah. That's all I wanted to do was publish the photographs. And then the guy said, you're going to have to tell a story about these pictures. And I said, well, I kept a diary. And he said, well, transcribe it. And then when we transcribed it, we realized that there was an extraordinary story about the Wizard of Oz, about the man behind the curtain. Yeah. That there's this story about this extraordinary genius that we talk about his black eyes all night tonight. Yeah. They really were black and powerful and piercing and intelligent, yeah. Deeply, deeply intelligent. And these extraordinary stories that got created about him, some of them true, some of them not true. He becomes like the powerful Oz. This image of Stanley Kubrick, like in The Wizard of Oz, projected onto our consciousness, was really just a Menchie Jewish kid from the Bronx. Well, the wonderful Lee Ermey, who plays the drill instructor in the first half of the film, was in a car accident.
Brilliant.
And the steering wheel broke his ribs. He wasn't hired to be the drill instructor in the film. He was hired to be the person who teaches you how to march, the technical advisor on the film.
And he was teaching one of the actors to do it.
Yeah, yeah, and auditioning the extras.
Cinderella story. You never know.
He was so he ends up getting the role, and he was really nervous because he couldn't memorize lines. And the great Leon Vitali, who Ryan worked with, and he played Lord Bullington as the grown-up who shoots you and makes you lose your leg. Leon Vitali was working with R. Lee Ermey night and day to get him to memorize those lines.
And how did he do?
He did unbelievably, but Lee had this nervous smell that would come up from his gut and come out of his mouth. And he was a chain smoker, and he drank copious amounts of coffee. Oh. So people would say, like, how was it when he would get in your face and yell? Was it really hard to act with him? And it was like, you're f***ing right, it was hard to act with him. He had the worst. His breath smelled like one of the alleys in downtown Los Angeles on Skid Row.